Alrighty. Well, I had a visit yesterday from some fine people at the government, and they've re-regulated my hormones, and I just feel fantastic now. No, that's not what happened. I can't actually joke about this. I want to joke, but I can't joke because that'll get lost. It'll be the wrong thing if I joke about it. Basically, what I'm doing is expressing my masculine fury. That's what I was doing for the last 2 weeks. I'm showing the actual true representation of what my barbarian axe swinging masculine form, that is a product of raising 3 of my own children and contributing to the raising of 2 other children whose biological fathers were not particularly, I shouldn't say that, but who weren't in a residential capacity with their young children. By the choice, I will say, by the choice, I can't even say that. Not even going to go into that territory. But basically, this is the quagmire. And I think this is like, I'm going to get into some things here, right? I've tried all different. I'll get rid of this. Remember this? This was the Farmer Catholic Church Nazi Islamic Empire that we discussed yesterday. Oh, it's all gone. Oh well. Just for anyone who's curious, well, I can do a pretty good voice as well. Like I can pretty much anyway, but it's like a process. There would be a process involved in that. And that's something that I probably more than likely, I don't know who the fuck knows what's going to happen. All of the places that I see, and I send my stuff to the Liberal Party because my dad supported the Liberal Party. And as a business person, it just makes sense. And it upsets me to watch the country go down this fucking sideshow alley, Ferris wheel, carnival, carny, communist, cuckery, fucking cock-sucking, fucking cowboy catastrophe. But all the solutions I see is, let's just say we have the left, obviously, and the right, okay? I just don't fucking accept any of these things because they don't make any sense. In some ways, I am more left than I don't even know who's someone who's really left. And in some ways, I'm more right than anyone who's right. And so all the solutions I'm finding are in the middle. So right now, there is a narrative that and this is similar, and I've actually done a lot of research on the gay thing, right? So right away, baby, I was born this way. This is what I've been told since I was a child. People are born gay. Well, I haven't been gay. I haven't had any gay fucking instincts for the majority of my life. It's only after being hideously attacked by my government, by my children's mother, by the fucking world, having my business destroyed, having all of my observations dysregulate, all those things, and now I feel gay. So my assumption is that, no, you're not a baby, you're not born this way. Gayness, homosexuality seems to be like a landing place for the dispossessed, which makes sense. And it's not like an incel thing. It's like I would have no trouble, maybe not dressed like this, but if I present myself as a man, I can go and get women. I can do that. But it's like the problem with me personally is that I've been a father since I was 20. So that kind of that trick that lures all the young men into the casino, and increasingly older men. There's 40-year-olds that have never had children that are kind of acting like they're the things that, no, you're not. You haven't even started. You should go and fucking collect all your fucking illegitimate children that you've maybe left around and do something. This is not at all the way that the world has ever been. It's just, they just stretch it out. They're stretching women's like single days out and men's single days out. But I'm not in that, obviously. I resolved when I was very young, 20, 21, to be, I'm a father now. I'll do the dad thing. I had to put aside so many things of masculinity, and especially of like my generations that like that. Yes, I didn't put it all away, and I'm a naughty boy because I went and fucking kissed your granny and your mum a bit too much. But that was way better than running off with girls my own age or younger girls, and you know what I mean? Backpacking around Europe while my fucking 3 children are being raised by the hardest working mother I've ever met. And this is what upsets me. I'm constantly lured into these positions of this thing that I'm not at all doing nor have ever done, because the arguments just don't make sense. So there's one, right? Homosexuality, obviously, it's a thing. So it's obviously environmental. Maybe it's caused by the fact that I've seen it and I'm like, yeah, well. Or maybe it's caused by the stress, or maybe it's frustration. Maybe I've like burnt out from women. I'm like, women, fuck me, they just cause me headaches, which is funny, isn't it? That's ironic. Isn't it funny that it's like you get burnt out on women, then you present as one? Weird. But all of these things that everyone's saying, and I see the other thing, climate change and fucking environmental damage, this is false as well. And this is what I've put 20 years of work into. It's not false. It's the triage. They're triaging it in a way that just doesn't make sense. So it's the same thing. See, I'm not denying that people are gay or that people are trans. I'm denying that they're necessarily born that way. And this is actually one of the oldest psychological debates, whether it's nature or nurture. So the fact that this is just being thrust into everyone's fucking mouth, I class that as rape. So right now, it's like if I went off and experimented with either feminine presentation or homosexual activity privately in my own way, okay, yeah, righto, that's my decision. If I was encouraged into that as a young person, no, because why? Because then I wouldn't have children. I wouldn't have had children, and I wouldn't have been a father, which means I wouldn't have stood up for all these things. I wouldn't have even cared about the fucking environment. Whether I was fucking knee deep in skirt or knee deep in fucking gym shorts, it doesn't matter. I wouldn't have been focused on our environment. So although I may be finding this now and this whatever, I think this is perhaps a more natural representation of what homosexuality maybe was for the majority of humankind. It's just it doesn't sell fucking Taylor Swift tickets, and it doesn't sell alcohol, and it doesn't sell fucking drugs and vapes and pretty clothes and handbags. And I will admit as well, it's not as presentable. This is where we're getting into some weird thing. Oh, right. You're going to start talking about supply and demand, aren't you, Shannon? And you're going to start using your marketing fucking experience to talk about what's actually going on. Oh, no. Oh, God. Oh, shit. I can hear the fucking stock tickers just taking a fucking dive right now as I'm slowly going to fucking reveal that there is a supply and demand economic fucking marketplace emerging for feminine-looking men that are younger and younger and younger and younger, because that's exactly what happened with women. And in my absolute revelation of toxic masculinity, again, I'm jumping over in the left and having some backstroke now. I'm like, well, yes, in my toxic masculine life that I lived before this, I didn't even fucking consider the fact that that was going on with women and that that was unnatural, and that there was a cohort of men aged 50 to 100 that had basically a smorgasbord of pornographic material of younger and younger women behaving and appearing in younger and younger manifestations of sexual activity on the internet. I was too busy building buildings in Perth, changing nappies, getting fucking frying pans thrown at me, and getting fucking bottles of alcohol thrown at me if I didn't exactly do as I was fucking told. And we can see what happens if you stray actually too far out, not to the point of giving her a fucking black eye, which I never did, but to the point of saying, no, I'm going to drop those kids back 2 hours later. And what happened? I ended up in fucking a maximum security prison. So the problem is that you've burnt out the whole thing. You put a father of three, small business owner, environmentalist, amateur environmentalist, who you know what I mean, is doing these things in maximum security prison because he fucking didn't do exactly as he was told to his abusive fucking ex-partner. Well, you can go and suck my fucking cock. You can suck it all the fucking way to the fucking shaft. Do you know what I mean? Because none of this is fucking true. There is no, there's been a little bit because I was majoritively raised by a single mum. Not because I would have wanted to have been, but because my single mum was drugged and given a fucking reason to do whatever the fuck she wanted, including steal my entire fucking father's fucking estate and fucking parade around like some type of fucking bohemian fucking hippies. When my father sat there and every chance he got instilled me with wisdom. It's a strange fucking enigma. I'm sure my father, when he was alive, would be horrified if I appeared like this to him. Or maybe he wouldn't. Maybe considering that my father was homophobic and he was whatever, but I do have pictures of him dressed as a woman because that was quite a common thing that people did. But I just don't think it was understood. I think this is it's like you have children young, you do all this stuff, you do all this work, you should have built a household and some savings and perhaps a farm, you got all that shit sorted, and then you can play around with the fucking sexual stuff, the weird things. And it's just that we're exposed to more and more stuff there is just more women's fashion out there. So, and we're exposed to more presentations of women. So it's just incredibly boring to be a man. So this is what's happening. And it's happening naturally, and then it's being pushed on people because people want to see younger and younger men dressing up like girls so that they can get off on them. Because the same thing happened with women. So it's like everything exists here. Like nothing is in left and right. It can't be in left and right. It just can't be. It's like my manifestation of a ultra masculine man, why am I ultra masculine man presenting that? Because I have children to protect. That's my imperative. That's what fucking concretes me and handcuffs me and fucking binds me to this place here. It's biological. I can tell you a million ways how this is true. Every single time we would have a child, I would get about 18 months or something, or a year and a half worth of the craziest energy and drive that I've ever had. That's a lot of times why I feel a little bit like lethargic and stuff. I'm like, where's all that energy gone? And it doesn't activate as heavily with someone else's children, obviously, because it's activated. I think it's you seeing your infant. When you see an infant, you're like, oh, that's my infant. That's my baby. I better work. And it's like we're in an economy where it's, well, now if I present that as a 20-year-old, I was pretty when I was 20, so I could have now provided for my family by dressing up in girls' clothes and masturbating on the what the fuck? That's a fly. We have them down here. That's like, that would have been a legitimate thing, and more than likely, because although there's a housing crisis and all, there's a building crisis, and a trade shortage and a skills shortage and a degradation of society and all these things, I probably would have made more money doing that. So what the fuck? The fuck do we do? So the craziest thing is, I'm in a position where I've been exposed to this thing. It's been normalized, and I can't be the fucking man, because as soon as I am a man, this is what I said. It's like, I said I'd give it a go, and it doesn't work. As soon as I fucking look in the mirror and I see a man, I'm like, righto, they've crossed too many lines. They've destroyed too many fucking things. It's time to start killing people and forging an army and fucking defend, because for some reason, despite me being extremely vocally political, directly addressing these things, this hijacking of a cultural phenomenon into political dichotomy, it's not being represented as a political thing. It's being represented as an annoyance. That person's just fucking talking on the internet. Well, everyone's fucking talking on the internet. The only way you ever fucking heard about any of this fucking thing was on the internet. So what are we to do? Right. So that's one exposure of a phenomenon that is being misinterpreted, misprojected. It's being misexplained. Like this, what is this? Misinformation, disinformation. Well, that's disinformation because of my own case. Then they'll go, oh, well, you're just crazy, Shannon. You're an anomaly that doesn't make sense. We don't need, and this is actually, it's like, we don't need middle-aged fucking divorced fathers to be presenting like this, because that doesn't sell. We need young fucking boys to be presenting like this, because that's what the fucking Saudis and the Arabians and the fucking Islamic extremists want. And it's like, oh, did you just say the fucking quiet bit out loud? Or did I just fucking, whittle away the small bits of fucking dirt that you fucking covered on this fucking shallow grave here? Now, that's one entire thing that has happened, right? The next is going to get into something weird. I've had a few things that would contribute to low testosterone, although I don't even know whether I have low testosterone. I should probably go and get it checked, but I just don't trust doctors anymore. And so, yeah, the key indicators of testosterone in myself are still present. I'm still quite, virile and have a lot of hair and things like that and whatever. But this is happening. So this, weirdly, this is a high testosterone version of a woman, which exists. There are women that have high testosterone. So it has nothing to do with the hormones. That's weird as well, isn't it? So if I go and get a test and it says, yeah, your testosterone is not super high, but it's pretty high. Or it might not be, because I've had a vasectomy and I've had a pretty serious fucking head injury in my life, and I'm stressed as fuck because of all this shit. So that would all lower my testosterone. My certain things like recovery, like tiredness and energy, all of that is fucked. But I do not want to go and risk taking testosterone, because I will kill somebody. So this is where I'm at. Now, the next thing. So within this physical thing that's been going on for 10 plus years, through like now what I would call torture, like I've been tortured by every single woman because they're misaligned to a corrupt political system, and because of the constant encouragement to reject. See, it's like there was no value of me when I was young. We're told that there is, but there isn't. I was just a fucking person to go and fucking do the things. They'd already betrayed their fathers and their grandfathers and their great-grandfathers and their great-grandfathers for this feminist revolution. It's just they never told me. I had to figure it out myself. I'm like, well, maybe the fact that yous all keep fucking doing this to me, maybe you've betrayed all your fathers and grandfathers. And so what I want to land on now is, well, I have had a physical thing, majoritively in my hips. and my body. So it's like from the waist down. This immediately, as soon as I present like this, nothing to do necessarily. There is some on top of other things that go on where I feel kind of comfortable. I'm like, oh yeah, that's probably like a thing. That's a different thing. I don't feel as aggressive. I feel like everything changes. I'm like, oh, I'll just go and do this other thing now. I don't need to go and start a war. Although I do actually think that I do. But this is the conflict between my masculine side and my feminine side. Just that. But presenting like this instantly gives me permission to allow my body to move in a way that it doesn't move in. So recently, when I went back to being masculine, I went and played golf, activated after Charlie Kirk's death because of all the, it's a pretty serious thing, because I'm actually kind of more on that side, which is again a normal thing. This is what no one gets. It's like, it's funny that all these naturally occurring emergent phenomenons to do with gender and stuff are lining up on the political. Well, obviously they're not. And that weirdly helps the left. But I don't care, because again, I'm not talking about left and right. There is something going on. I just don't believe it's going on in the way that they are saying it's settled. And this is similar to the vaccines. Like you were saying, the science is settled. I particularly don't think that the majority of the damage caused by the mandates and the vaccine was not caused by the vaccine. It was caused by the mandates and by the mob behavior that we're now seeing continuations of, where people are celebrating somebody being assassinated openly, dressed like this, which is the complete opposite to a feminine thing. Oh, actually, no, it's not. Women have a little bit of that. Women are vindictive, and they do. I have seen them revel in the destruction of their enemies. Usually men actually are kind of not so much like that. There's really nasty, kind of disgusting men that do, but most men that have gotten to a position, I think they're kind of like, well, he played well on the field. It was a sad day to see him go. I might not have agreed with all these things, but he was a good whatever. That's how men actually deal with it, because we've had thousands of years of knowing that if we fuck up and we get in the wrong place, we're going to die or be hideously fucking mutilated or fucking beaten to death or left in a fucking field with 6 arrows and 2 spears in our fucking head. So again, we're trying to whittle away at what the fuck is actually going on. But there's a few things. As soon as it got too much, I was like, well, I'm going to get arrested if I keep doing this, or I'm going to start a war. And I'd probably more than likely don't trust myself to regulate all the destruction I would cause if I was able to actually get in that position. Despite a lot of work and actually I have quite a lot of confidence, but not enough. And so this is the thing I did. And also, like, I feel instantly as soon as I went that other way, it was like, yeah, I felt comfortable because I've been that way for the most of my life in one way, but my body just went to shit. I kind of watched, whether this is real or whether this is psychosomatic, I don't know, but I watched my legs kind of deteriorate into this thing that didn't work. Almost like my masculine presentation is like a potato with 2 pop sticks, just fucking enough to fucking straddle over a fucking horse and then go swing a mace around its people's heads. I don't know exactly. That's just an interesting way to think about it. When I present like this, it's like a holistic thing. My body starts working as one whole unit. I watched yesterday, it came up on my feed, I watched some female sprinters, and I'm quite adept at looking at movement and posture and things like that. Maybe because my father did this with dogs. This was a huge part of what my father did with all breeds of dogs. I don't know whether that's inherited, whether that's natural. Who knows what that is. But I was watching the female sprinters, and I watched where their fast twitch trigger points were on their body while they're running, how they hold their body, all these things. And I went, that's me. That's how I work. I'm remembering it. I'm like, yeah, that's I remember playing sport and running and watching. And then men are different, or male sprinters, male sportsmen are different. There's another thing that these women sprinters were basically wearing like nothing. They were wearing like a little underwear and a top, like a bra top. And so you could see all these things. Whereas a lot of sports I watched when I was a child, especially like cricket or hockey, and at the time, they would wear like baggy shirts and things like that. So you couldn't really see as much activation. And so it was all a bit of a mystery. Now, there's no doubt in my mind that I trained myself as a child. I would come home every day from school and I'd be playing something. I'd be skateboarding later on in life, rollerblading later on. I'd play cricket for hours and hours, or I'd play hockey for hours and hours, or we'd throw a ball around, or we'd climb trees. This was non-stop. And I was like, as soon as I would do it, I would sit there and bowl at one stump just over and over, because that's my dad kind of instilled that into me. He's like, oh, well, to be the greats, you got to fucking do this thing. You just got to practice over and over and over again. Hence what I'm doing here. It's the same thing. It's just the sport keeps changing. The game keeps changing. And I'm now hitting points where it's like, right, what I'm trying to do, what I need to do, because I keep training at this, bowling at this stump, metaphorically speaking, is changing. I can't present as that bearded fucking, oaf, despite the fact that, that perhaps to women that's more attractive, perhaps that to society that's this thing. I can feel confident and thing if I go in an environment. Most people don't leave me alone. Most people don't bother me. Dead easy. It's a no-brainer. Wouldn't you think that's a no-brainer? Well, unfortunately, it's not, because the society's gone too weird. So this is weirdly the largest, and this is fucking terrifying. That's the other thing. It's like it's not easy. It's not like it's different. It maybe for the young ones, they're in this fucking this bubble of it, and that's probably similar if you talk to women from say the early 2000s or the late 90s, when the kind of porn thing was coming in. Like, I do remember thinking, oh, it's weird that all the chicks are getting fake tits. Like, a lot of girls I went to school with got fake tits. That did exist before, but I think it mainly only happened with older women. It was like older women had been convinced, because as older women were seeing young women with nice tits, so then they got fake tits, and then it just went full circle very quickly. And girls I went to school with, I was like, didn't she not have tits and now she's got tits? Oh yeah, she got fake tits. And so it's like everything, the world has presented that to everyone, and that's what we're in. And that does an amazing thing. Like it is staggering to me whenever I see these examples. I'm like, wow, we are very similar. Like that person there, once they have boobs, that does look like a woman. It does trick my brain, and we're pretty dumb. The animals in general are pretty dumb. There's this hermit crab that fucking has these uncontrollable urges towards beer bottles, and so this is the same. Now, I just don't know whether it's negative or positive. Who the fuck knows? But the mental change as soon as I present in a different way is so large. And this is where I think we're in. We have these politicians and marketplaces and governments and all these things and companies that produce whatever, providing this option, but we're not recognizing it as a manifestation of masculinity. We're being told that they're changing to women. Now, this is where it gets really tricky, because they are. It isn't just a physical, it is a mental. You will see I'll do this for the next couple of weeks and I'll see how I go. But it's like, you'll see that I'm less aggressive, more diplomatic, and that's always been the case. And that's why most men in Parliament for hundreds of years have shaved, because they've always been doing that. Now, you cannot present into that environment now, dressed as an 18th century, 17th century gentleman with a cane and a top hat and all these things, and a long. You can't do that. That would not work. You would appear like some type of lunatic. And you will also appear like a lunatic, supposedly, to a large portion, if you do this. So what are we stuck with? We're stuck with generic businessman suit. That's never been the case. That has never been the way that Parliament has run. It's never been the way that diplomacy is run or politics or anything like that. I think in a way we're terrified of the uniforms because of World War II. Those uniforms were a manifestation of this, right? But this can't be uniform. And that's another observation. Women do not conform as much as men. They don't have the instinct to gather and all appear in a uniform together. That's just not there. So this is my insurance policy of not starting an empire of hideous fucking warriors that fucking, traipse across the land. That's the old oh, she's wearing what I'm wearing. Oh, fuck you. Why didn't you tell me that you're wearing that? Whereas men are like, oh, we all look the same. This is great. So weird, isn't it? Now, the next thing is, or I'll just continue talking about a little bit about the physical things. At the moment, when you're in, which I would, I am in severe pain from my backs and hips and things, it basically just doesn't work. Now, as soon as I do this, it starts working better, but it still fucking hurts because it's dead. There's all these sections that are just dead and not working properly. But doing this little switch back, I went and played golf. I went on this huge walk, but did that as a man, which made me really sore, almost crippled again. And then now I'm still sore now, but it's there's a little bit more activation. So this is a problem. It's I have to keep going down this route. And then once you're there, you're well, it's worth a go. If you're in fucking pain, it's worth a go. I'm pretty comfortable in all different types of situations, although it's not particularly, you know what I mean? If there was it's not a matter of a mental disorder, because that isn't the case. I could quite happily go and grow a beard and go and live in the jungle and build a house. And if, I take a young wife out there and start, I could probably do that. That's just not, it doesn't work. No one's doing it. And you know what I mean? You can't actually do that. You'd be like, can you pick up that stone there and place it there? And she's like, oh my God, the patriarchy. Oh my God, arrest him. You'd have the SWAT team there. You can't do it. You cannot in this world, to do that manifestation of masculinity does involve, not coercive control, but some, hey, can you do this? Men do have a higher level of importance based on acquiring skills and providing stability. That's what the uniforms and things are. That's what all that is. This, and that's instant as well. You do notice this, and you're well, I don't care. I'll just fucking do this. And that's why there is this gender divide. We're literally coming from complete opposite fucking ends of the world. Now we'd want to avoid thousands and thousands of uniformed men aligning under some fucking lunatic. But in the same way, we have to balance against this blasé, nonchalant female nature leading us to have blind spots towards the safety and security and stability of our nations and our children, and, our cultural protective mechanisms, so that we don't just deteriorate to apes fucking in the street. And that's that's where we're heading. Donald Trump says we're heading to hell. Well, it's the left-leaning world is heading to apes fucking in the street. And it's kind of it's fucking... But that's the thing. That's the balance between the masculine and the feminine. It's some parts of the masculine apes fucking in the street. But apes fucking in the street means apes killing in the street as well. You should know that. Unless everyone's feminine. But then if everyone's feminine, there will always be some masculine that can put their uniforms on and come and fucking gate crash that fucking apes fucking in the street party. So it's all very confusing. But some of this manifestation now is to do with the fact that I'm all worn out. I'm 38 years old. My children, I have 2 adult children, almost. this time next year, I will have 2 adult children at 38, and then another child, and then other children to do with partners and ex-partners and things like that. And I've gone through some of the largest, most destructive fucking things in society. And for this last one especially, I was fucking non-stop trying to fucking work out and prevent us going into some type of spoon-fed, bottle-fed, tube matrix fucking information reality, where we're just handed down demands and forced to fucking, bow down and fucking suck fucking Bill Gates' dick. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do it. But I do have to make sure that there's longevity, that I can do this into the long term. So I will more than likely experiment in a fucking hormonal thing on the other side. I've done the thing where I took steroids. Now, when I did this little flick back, played golf, grew a beard, I'm like, righto, I could do steroids, and that would probably help me recover. But it's just not there. I don't see what I would do with all of that testosterone. It's like I've burnt out on it. I'm like, what am I going to do? Go down the fucking beach and do fucking chin-ups? Like, I'm just going, well, that's just going to increase my fucking lust for fucking young, insane women, and in that way, and then my violence towards men that have trespassed on it's like, what the fuck? And I haven't had, I think because I was thrust into the fathering role as very young, it's like I haven't had the cultured, civilized section, and my body just instantly turns into that. So there would be perhaps a gentlemanly, and maybe this is what this is. It's just, it's hot here. So gentlemen in Australia dress like fucking little whores. Maybe that's what they're always dressing like. We just don't know because they're all covered up. And it's a very, cold climate, Northern Hemisphere, British phenomenon. Most majoritively Caucasian, but then is it? Because you see tribal elders in other places dressing quite elegantly and grand and feminine if you squint. So I don't know. Yeah, we just don't have a good. See, it's like, well, it's cultural appropriation. Okay, so if I dress like a tribal elder, like a Maori elder of, African chief, I'd be culturally appropriating. Yet they can dress like me. So then we find the middle ground of shorts and t-shirts, and that's just fucking not acceptable. But we are in Australia, which is a hot climate, so it's like, what actually happens here? And if we do accept that it's like, well, I think those gentlemen, even in England, were perhaps doing it to get women. I don't think the world's all that different. Maybe they were very gentlemanly and chivalrous and all these things. But there is a massive femininity to it. And so it's just, we're in that same paradigm, but in 2025, where we're completely exposed and surrounded by high definition sexual activity, by constant sexualized fucking everything, majoritively on women. And so perhaps the gentleman in the 1800s dressed in a top hat and a long flowing thing and a cane, it's like, well, that silhouette is actually not too different to a woman with her hair up and a long flowing dress. And the movement and the patterns and the shaved face and all the things like this. So it's this counterbalance. And I actually don't think it's much different to drawing fucking pictures on a cave. People would draw pictures of animals. Tribesmen would draw pictures of animals that they wanted to hunt. In civilization, I think gentlemen and men wanted to attract women. And so they would present as women. It's not that much of a leap, is it? It's just that we're getting into full saturation of sexual content, and that's the major difference. So you might have spent a year courting some woman that's silhouette walking down a draped stairway, that captured your mind and heart so much that you had your tailor produce, an echoing manifestation of, and you would write letters. That was that. And now that it's like, if that happens now, you may, as a young person in the world now, go from that infatuation to seeing them be gangbanged by a fucking whatever. And it's like, that's where we're at. Now, I see that as far more odd. See, men have been wearing makeup for a long time. Men have been presenting feminine for a long time. Perhaps you didn't notice and you didn't know that all those men in Parliament and all those actors and all those whatever have been shaving their face and their body and presenting. I did, in a way, because my father used to tell me. He'd be offended by it. He'd say, they all shave their chests and they're all girls. Yeah, he was dead right. And so I didn't do it. And so that turns into what you've seen in the last week, and, give it an extra year or two and some testosterone, and I will be fucking swinging heads around with a fucking battle axe. Not really an option anymore, thankfully, and not my culture, really. I have to go pretty far back, majoritively on my mum's side, to find that type of figure. And although, the emotional strength, all those things from that was vital. So I don't have a problem with these manifestations being shown. We do have to find a settling ground for civilized men in this paradigm to present. And I basically think it's like, well, we've tipped over the line. It's like we rode that line for hundreds of years, where we would present as feminine as we possibly could, but still have a wonderful masculine presence. And now it's pretty much going to be imperceptible. Not perhaps with me because I'm too old, but maybe, who knows? Who knows? These fucking hormones are pretty amazing things. Obviously, all the lived experience I have, I don't lose that. But I do have to refocus it and reutilize it in a new way. So that's interesting. And obviously it's because it's an experiment. I'm like, well, if it makes it worse, I'll stop. And if it makes it better, I might keep going. And if it's, too unbearable, and that's the reason why I document it. And I think a lot of people are. But we need to sort out what is part of the cultural war, what is a naturally and predictably emergent societal phenomenon based on the fact that we've in 10 years done more or been exposed to more novel things than at the last 1,000 years. So that's going to change. And the majority of those have been driven towards a sexual presentation. So yeah. See, this my feminine manifestation is one of like conservatism. And so that's instantly an exposure of like, what? So why would you present as trans if you were on the conservative side? Well, the reason I would do that is because I think it makes sense for this hypersexual revolution, which this hypersexuality now open, not on display, is actually what falsely got me directed towards mental illness, not even with any gender stuff. There wasn't any gender stuff involved. I was just boning old ladies. That was what was used. You're boning too many old ladies, Shannon. You've got to be fucking ill. That was 10 years ago. That's not long enough. It's not a long enough time to make these changes. So why would you display a conservative display of what it would be? Well, because otherwise we're all going to end up fucking in the streets and killing in the streets, unfortunately. And I don't see a lot of other options. Like, there needs to be, and actually, weirdly, already the majority of what I've seen, except if it's in pornography, displays of trans individuals. They're not someone, obviously there is some fucking nut jobs and there's nut jobs that are men as well. Like there's men that go into women's toilets and rape them. One happened in fucking wherever down south from here the other week. And it happens probably more than you'd expect. When I was a kid, there was some fucking creepy guy that was raping women in fucking graveyards. So it's like the thing about, and look, I don't want to get into it. I don't fucking care. I would not go into a woman's toilet. But I think if you're an 18-year-old that's done this, although, see, this is where I get to it again. It's like, I don't think fucking young people should be getting encouraged to that, because I would have done it, and then I wouldn't have children, and then I wouldn't be able to manifest this conservative display of it to protect us all from, going that way. You need. See, the funny thing is, it's like, yeah, you can present as a woman, I think, but you're presenting as a slut that you've seen on pornography if you're a young person. You need to really understand women. You need to have had a fry pan thrown at your head by a woman. You need to have been betrayed by your mother. You need to, have watched women talk all these things that they're going to do and then do absolutely nothing at all. Watch them willingly fucking hand over their children to slavery and voluntarily roll up in fucking hundreds of thousands to thrust their fucking unborn fetuses into a volcano before you really understand what women are. And so, again, I'm not saying I'm a woman. I'm saying I'm going to continue on this. I'm going to perhaps regulate my hormones in order to physically manifest a more structurally operative function. And that, to the majority of people, will probably look feminine. But it never has been. It's a cultural representation of my civilized background and my civilized culture that you are all appropriating every day and don't know it. It always has and always will be this way. It's just that you've all changed the playing field. And I'm just doing the same thing I was doing when I was putting that outswinger just outside off stump. And if you don't know what that means, do you know what that means? That in my childhood would have been, that's the question. Do you know what does that mean? Put an outswinger outside off stump. Doesn't mean I'm going to play cricket, but I still support it. Maybe I'll play women's cricket. Kidding. It's a joke. But yeah, the conservative is the anchor. The conservative parties of the world are the anchor to prevent us being thrust into the Bermuda Triangle. And look what you're doing to us. Do you know what I mean? And the problem is most men will tell you they're not. It's like, yeah, when, late, whatever, you want to pull up some, whore or slut doing something sexual, but it's like they don't want to actually, do that. So men are attracted to conservative displays of femininity. And I'm going to assume that exists whether they're men or whether they're women. It's like, would you get in a car with a fucking meth head if you knew the brakes didn't work? I don't think so. And I'm just gently tapping on the brakes to make sure they work. And I'm like, they're not working. Oh, hey, these brakes aren't fucking working. And to do that, I have to put makeup and a dress on, probably. Weird fucking weird times. And part of me is annoyed. It's almost like I'm like an heiress that's inherited some type of thing. I'm not. I'm just a father that has to fucking do this in order to prevent us going to hell. But it's hard to be super feminine when you're doing this, when you have to do this. Like, this is what a responsible mother looks like. I'm guessing this is what I'm doing. What's a mother and what's a father? It's like, well, the mother's the female thing. Doesn't mean I gave birth to the children, doesn't mean, but it's like, that's, in your words, that's how I'd have to describe it. And so this is what it thinks is like, oh, if I spent fucking 3 weeks, working out my best Marilyn impersonation, which is what all that women are doing whenever they're presenting any type of persona, they've trained, like I trained in cricket, they've trained to do that, right? Because it works. It's what's going to provide them nourishment. And so no one would take Marilyn seriously in this. So I don't know what it's going to turn into. But already it's like, all right, so I get to be, have all these things thrown at me. I have to do this really uncomfortable thing because of all of you. I have to try and figure out the middle ground of this insane whatever, because I was successful in procreating at a young age, and it's thrust my mind and body and instincts into this manifestation. And I can't even do it in a nice, cool, fun way. I miss out on all the young years of all that. And this is where it's like, you're not a woman. It's like, yeah, no shit. I didn't get to fucking get free drinks bought for me and fucking whore myself around fucking Europe like the majority of young women in this country are now aspiring to do. I don't get to go and pick out $600 fucking dresses to go to some fucking nonsense fucking DJ fucking festival. No, I don't. I have to do this. So it's just, we will win because all the smartest, all the most proactive, dedicated, educated, fiscally responsible, and I think once it's reestablished, productive, attractive, interesting members of society all tend to this way. I think it's exposing what it is. The left, you know what I mean? The socialist politicians of the world, they're harpoonists on a whaling ship. And they've fucking harpooned our entire society to some type of pornography, fucking digital currency, World Trade Federation fucking sleigh ride. What do they call it on that movie? With Chris Hemsworth in it. And we're getting dragged behind this whale, which we're killing. So we're killing a whale, we're killing our people, we're going to end up fucking stranded in the doldrums, all eating each other in lifeboats. And the conservatives of the world are the anchors. Yeah. Which is funny because that's what the trans and LGBTQ has hijacked again, the anchor. You take it because you're like, pirates were gay. Oh my God, pirates were gay. Look at my anchor. Can I suck your dick? But really, the anchor is the fucking thing that stops the fucking crazy pirate ship mutinying and ending up fucking dead on a fucking desert island. So the anchor is the wrong thing. You should have used a fucking block or something, which is the block that you use to hoist the fucking ropes or the flag. If you're going to continuously keep hoisting your pride flag, you better use a block instead of an anchor. Anchor's the wrong image. No, we're the anchor. You're the fucking out of control, flapping fucking undisciplinedly fucking trimmed sails that is going to send us all to fucking hell in a handbasket. So yeah, I will stroll back into my captain's quarters. I will fucking give a light little tap on the door and you will all begin swabbing the fucking decks before I throw you all overboard. Good day.